Hi again then guys, and so we've got another Gran Turismo 6 drag spec setup for you today, and this time it's for the top super saloon of Gran Turismo in terms of spec and straight line performance, the Mercedes C63 AMG. Hugely popular car, and actually really fast even compared to supercars. Now I've opted for racing soft tyres, but I know that for drag racing everyone has their own personal preference there. As far as the ride height, it's very popular for people to slam the back end of the car to the floor and to raise the front all the way. I don't believe that's the best way, and I win a lot of drag races. So I've got my rear ride height on 100 because you don't want the car to bottom out on the floor off the line because that just makes you slower. The front ride height we've got on 150, so not the maximum on this one because it doesn't make a huge difference to the top end acceleration. I have tested it on the maximum and 150 is just as good, but it doesn't look as stupid. As far as the springs, we've got 550 on the front, 425 on the rear. For the dampers you want 4 all round except for 1 on the rear compression. Anti-roll as high as possible to keep the car straight and true. Camber and toe neutral. We'll come back to the gearbox in a second. For the diff, we've got the lowest initial torque, highest acceleration and lowest braking sensitivity. As far as power, obviously all the upgrades. I have fitted NOS and I will be using it on this run. You want the full weight loss package. Now if you plan to use this as a quarter-mile car, you may want to add a 100 kilo ballast all the way to the rear of the car, because that does actually make it 0.1 of a second quicker over the quarter mile to 60 and to 100 miles per hour. But it affects it adversely at anything beyond that. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend using that unless it's only a quarter-mile car that you're looking for. Now coming back to the gearbox, you want the maximum auto setting. Then for the individual gears you want 4.6, 2.9, 2050, 1525, 1.2, 975, 800 and a final drive of 2.1. And this is actually a 6-speed setup because you just don't need to use all 7 gears on this car. Traction control you definitely want turned off, and as with most of my drag tunes I will be using an auto box, so if you do decide to use a manual you will definitely be quicker. I just personally can't be bothered with it. Now to show what this car's actually capable of, we're putting up against a car which isn't really fair opposition for it, but shows what it's capable of in real life, or not real life, but in a real drag situation on the game. So we're putting it up against the Supra. So both cars are rear-wheel drive, both are fully tuned, and the Supra is using a manual, whereas this is using an auto, and both are using NOS. So let's see how they compare. So of course, as I said, it's not really a fair comparison because the Supra has such massive top-end performance compared to this. Even though this is the fastest saloon in the game, it's still no match for a Supra. But as you can see, of course the Supra is going to win, but it can keep up with the Supra phenomenally well. I mean, we've just passed the standing mile, 1600 meters, and it's right behind the Supra. Not anymore, of course, but it was at the 1600 meter mark. So if it can do that with a Supra at around 260 miles per hour, imagine what it can do to other sports cars which don't have the top end performance of a Supra, and there are plenty of them. Now, that's against my Supra. I'm not saying that you can't beat any Supra. There are certainly people out there who have Supras which can be beaten by this car, but this isn't a Supra killer. This is just a tune to make the C63 quick. As I said, if you need it as a quarter-mile car, add that bit of ballast, either 50 or 100 kilos. But overall, this is, as with most of my drag tunes, more of an all-round tune. I don't build quarter-mile cars. I've compared some of my tunes to quarter-mile tunes, and mine are quicker anyway. So I don't see the point of making a quarter-mile car or a half-mile car when you can just make a car that's quick through its entire range. That's always what I go for, and that is the case with this model. So, as far as actual specs, it is rear-wheel drive, of course, and it is a bit prone to wheel spin due to the torque. So it doesn't get off the line as quick as some of my all-wheel drive tunes, but it does still hit 60 in 2.3 seconds. It'll do 100 in 4.3, 200 in 11.6 seconds. It does the quarter mile in 8.9, and it will even cover 6,400 meters, which is 4 miles, in under a minute. So for a saloon especially, It's seriously rapid. Pretty much no other saloon can beat this. I mean, with a certain tune, the Dodge Charger may have a chance, but apart from that, forget it. This car is a monster in a straight line. So, if you decide to use this drag tune, obviously I hope you find it fun and competitive. And if you're new to the channel and would like to keep up with drag tunes and various other tunes like this as soon as they're released, be sure to subscribe down below. And as always, thanks for watching.